All right, everyone. Welcome from wherever you're joining in. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. So welcome to the webinar on ins and outs of a PhD at RIT, and we are from the Doctoral Students Association. And I'd like Path introduce the club and take it from here. Path.
Hello guys, my name is Parth Mehta. I'm the current president of the Doctoral Student Association, and welcome to today's in and outs of being a PhD student at RIT. So moving on to the next slide, basically what DSA does is, it is a multidisciplinary organization which basically works in three different areas. You have the professional development, the social gatherings, and you also have your personal development. So for normally professional development, we have events related with alumni relations, even grad educations, or even the career services, where we engage with employers and members of the community to see how we can actually introduce you to the industry or the academics after you finish your PhD. Social events, we normally tend to do things like alumni mixers, barbecues, get-togethers, and stuff like that, where we just hang out and talk with people from different departments and different multidisciplines. As far as personal development go, we try to connect with communities in Rochester. So like we've connected with the Rochester Science Museum, where we held a program to introduce basic science experiments to kids from 6th to 10th grade or 6th to 12th grade. And similar things like that we're planning to do. We even did a Rochester clean sweep and stuff like that. So as far as connecting with DSA, you can definitely find us on our Facebook page, our Facebook group. Also go onto the campus group, and there you can join our club. For the next week, as it is the orientation week, we'll be having the welcome back mixer. It will be virtual given the circumstances, but we will definitely be having welcome back mixer, where we can talk more about it. If you want to connect with RIT, the other option is you can go to the YouTube channel and also go to the LinkedIn page and the LinkedIn group. So as I mentioned, next slide. So as I mentioned, my name is Parth Mehta. I'm a PhD in engineering student. My focus area is metal additive manufacturing. I work at the Amprint Center at RIT. So Cyril, you're muted.
Sorry. So I'm Cyril. I'm the vice president of DSA, and I'm a third year PhD student in computer science. And my research area is on machine learning, natural language processing, and things like how do you predict human disagreements. Omar.
Hi, everyone. My name is Omar Ponte, and I'm a fourth year now PhD student in the engineering department. And my research is basically using machine learning algorithms to do energy forecasting. And I'm the current treasurer of DSA.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gaurav Wagh. I'm a third year PhD student in computing and information sciences. My research focuses on developing a privacy preserving framework for the smart grid domain using cryptographic primitives. And I'm the public relations in DSA.
Hey guys, my name is Yashar Saidwaidin. I'm a engineering PhD. I received my PhD last year, actually, December, from the engineering program at RIT, and I'm one of the first members of DSA with a few of the groups, so DSA alumnus as well. And currently I'm working in a company called Becton Dickinson back in New Jersey, and I'm working as a senior research engineer, and happy to be here and talking to you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Narges Hassani. I got my PhD in color science last year, and I'm starting a postdoc position in Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute this September. So happy to be here.
Thank you guys
So-
and welcome. So with this, I would like to open the floor for questions, but yeah, in the meantime, Yashar and Argus, if you could if you wanted to explain a little bit about what happened, like how you guys started the DSA or what DSA was, maybe like a small, just one point or something. Why did you think about it?
Yashar, maybe you wanna start on this?
Sure. I think DSA started as a like very small idea of let's have a group for PhD students so that they can talk to each other, and they can outside of the lab, like they can socialize, and also at the same time use each other's technical expertise, because the first group we were feeling that everyone is working in their lab and they're very busy and doing a really good job, but then you go to a place and talk to another PhD student from RIT, and you would find out that that person is also doing something that can be helpful for you. So DSA started because of that, and to help that, to have a community so that we can help each other out.
One more thing, guys. For people who wanted to ask questions, there's a chat box, so you can put your questions in there, and then we can get the conversation going further. So in basis with that, like even when I came here, so I'm from Mumbai, India. I came here in 2014, and initially I did not know actually a lot about Rochester or even RIT. I just came here and I started my work at RIT, and it wasn't until the end of my first year that I actually started exploring things around RIT, going places, doing things. So yeah, it takes time, but then RIT so Rochester as a city, as a town and a city is very beautiful. You got a lot of places, natural parks and state parks. You can do a lot of outdoor activities and stuff like around here. You have a lot of bars, pubs. And initially, actually, when I came to RIT, I'll leave that question open for others, but did you guys have any other areas where you're looking at, or was RIT a particular reason you chose for it or something like that? For me, it was because I connected with somebody here, and that's how I got in, or that's why I came here to do my research.
I also had another admission from the University of North Carolina, and then one from RIT. But an RIT has a program in color science, which is very specific, and it's actually the only program in color science in the US and among a few in the world. So it was very exciting for me to be accepted in a program that was very specifically working on color science, and it's a very reputable program, and that was the main thing, the main reason that I chose RIT. And then of course later when I arrived to Rochester, I was really amazed with the natural activities that you could do, all the outdoor activities that you could do. It's a very beautiful area, very nice people. It feels, I mean, it's a small town, and then you have all the perks of being close to New York City and Canada, and then being within a small community, so everybody's so nice to you. And I really enjoyed the 5 years that I was at Rochester.
In my case, a big factor was the possibility to do collaborative work with other schools within the same university that that kind of like touch on topics that I was interested in. So for example, as I said before, I work with machine learning, so that it's usually more computer science, but then I use it for to forecast energy. So I also work with the electric engineers, and then I also have like a sustainability twist to it. So I also have the sustainability school. So basically, I work kind of like with people from all those different schools, and everybody's like very open to collaboration. And I feel like I have everything I need. I have it here on campus.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Rochester has a really nice environment and people are very friendly. That's really nice. And everyone is always helpful. And because there are good universities at Rochester, and there are a lot of collaborations going back and forth between universities, and RIT has a lot of specific programs for certain specialties, and that's a really nice environment to grow in and be in, I would say.
Yeah, and another thing is that since RIT in its own has this unique ability as like where professors and researchers are in variety of ways, and so I felt like my decision was driven by the supervisor I talked to, and he did something that was quite aligning and interesting, as similar to what they have already done in terms of research. So I just wanted to continue, and that was one of the driving decisions where I ended up in RIT. So while to get our thing started, there was a question that was asked in the morning. I think may feel good in this case as well. It was what was the thing that you wish you should have known when you first started your PhD? So anyone want to start off with it?
Can you repeat that? What was
So
the?
like when you first joined the PhD program, what
Mhm.
was that one thing you should have known by then? And if you could travel back to your first year, or anything you would give as advice?
Hmm. Um.
I think I can talk about that a little bit. So regarding the PhD, uh, I think I can say that when I entered, I wasn't expecting it to be such a interesting journey. Actually, I can say that like you predict, yeah, it's going to be 2-3 years of coursework. Then I'm going to do let's say a proposal and then defend, and that's it. But then in the during that journey, like you start to meet people both in your social and professional network, and then you start realizing that there are a lot of different opportunities. So you sometimes you change the direction of your research, sometimes you change the direction that you're thinking, and at the end of the PhD, most of the people that I know become a different person completely, and mostly for the better. And that's a really interesting thing, I would say, which I didn't know at the start of it, actually.
I mean, sometimes it also depends on how things happen in the situation. Like, I started my master's as a mechanical engineer working in tribology and fluids. And then, just because of a course that I took during my master's, I got interested in additive manufacturing. And now I'm doing my PhD in that area. It does take time for you to understand, but if you find something interesting, and it can happen anywhere, like it's not only in the particular courses you're taking or particular work that you're doing. As they said, like you find something somewhere else and you suddenly interested in doing that.
Yeah, one more thing. In my case, it was like, of course, one thing I think I should know before was there is like a lot of interconnectivity amongst the faculty. So if you have a specific doubt, they might at least guide you to that respective domain expert of that, like the professor who can help us. So in my case, it was statistics, and I had taken a course in statistics from other college in RIT itself. So that helped me a lot. Earlier, I was a bit shy and was like, should I go to the professor? Should I tell this? Should I tell that I'm not good at this part? So being honest to your advisor also is very important. Yeah.
One other thing I noted later during my PhD, which I wish I would know earlier, is that you can actually get elective courses from all different departments, and they're usually very open on that. So you can actually look at things that you're interested to include, to learn about your research, or include it in your projects. That usually the staff and the department heads are very helpful and very supportive of you taking electives in different departments. So if you're working on something, for example, I'm working on modeling color appearance, and I need a little bit of computer graphics, I can actually go into the computer science department and get a course on computer graphics, which was very helpful later on in my projects.
I would like to expand a little bit on what Nargis brought up, and is that also, like, if you feel that you already have your bulk of classes filled, but you still need that knowledge, there's also possibilities of auditing classes. So you can like go to the class, you can basically be in the class and not have the pressure of having to do the homework or having to take the test. Like, you're basically just learning the material with the professor. So there's also like a process for that, which is really helpful, because sometimes you find yourself in a semester where there's that class that you really want that knowledge, but you're already full with other classes that you have to take. So there's always a workaround in regards to that.
Thank you, Omar. So with that, we move on to a question that's also somewhat relatable to that. The question is, who in staff/administration are necessary to get to know to be able to smoothly finish papers, register for classes, and get your business over with? And this is more of, I think, a programmed specific question as well. And in our cases, I think when it's in GCIS, Computing and Information Sciences, you should know Ming Ho, who's the PhD administrator, assistant, and then like some people in payroll and everyone, but it's more of part of the journey. And as you get through problems and as you face problems, you come into people and you get to know people. Anyone want to add anything to that?
So in color science, the administrator is Val Hemming, and she's just wonderful. Usually whatever problem you have, we would go to her, and she personally would, fix it, or she would know someone that we can, she would refer us to, and we would go to that person. It's usually every department has their own administrator, and they're usually very helpful people. So you wouldn't have any problem in that area. You just go to the person and they will help you they either help you with the problem, or they know someone that can help you with the problem.
I just wanted to add that in my experience, and this question kind of like touches on two areas. You have things that relate to your academics, like as it says there, like finishing papers and things like that. And then things that are more administrative, like registering for classes and getting something else done. So for registering for classes, as the guys have said, usually every program has that one person that you can go to, and they will do a really good job at directing you where you have to go. But when it comes to academics, so for example, in the case of the papers, that is usually something that you work directly with your academic advisor.
I was going to say too, and you guys can confirm or deny, I didn't get my PhD at RIT, but there are also people within the library that can assist you with research and research papers and getting into some of the research journals and such online. I don't know if you guys use any of the library researchers from your area. And then I would say from an administrative standpoint, in terms of registering for classes, I think if somebody is a little late on the, and hasn't followed up with you, or you haven't had registration for classes yet, I would just give them a little bit of time. I know it's getting close, but I think it's possible that we should, they'll probably get to it within the week or so if there's an issue now, but make sure you just email and give them some time to follow up with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that one good thing about the library people is that usually there are librarians for each department. So you have a librarian that represents your department, and they know very well about the resources that you might need. So when I was doing my thesis, that actually helped a lot. Or when you want to write a paper, you have that one person that you can go to and ask for resources or anything you might need for your papers or a thesis. So that's a wonderful thing about that RIT has.
I also wanted to add that in regards to those resources in the library, as Laura mentioned, there's even what they call the writing labs, which is people that you can like take something that you're writing and they will take a look at it and they will give you some pointers in regards to things like grammar or things that might work more smoothly in a different way. So that is very helpful. And they even recently started doing the same for presentations. So you can go and you can practice your presentation with someone in the library. So those are really good resources that you can take advantage of in regards to working with papers and presentation.
And I also I wanted to mention the writing commons. That's a nice place as well. If you have a paper that you're writing and you want to get some second opinion about the paper and the way that you wrote it, they're a really good resource at RIT Library.
Speaking of which, on library, as part of DSA, we just did a video with Roman from the library as well. And on if any of you are working remotely, even how to access all these library resources, papers, and get access to that as well. And it's on the DSA YouTube channel. All right, so I'll move on to the next question, which is coming from Chase. And do most incoming PhD students take full-time courses, i.e. 12 units? And I think there is some immigration things going on for this case as well, but generally in the case of to remain as a full-time student, you have to take at least 9 credits, and the number of courses depends on the amount you pick, and the rest is usually filled up with research credits as counted towards that you're working on the your thesis. But I think Laura might be a good person to answer on the technicalities of this.
9, 10, or 12. 9 is considered full-time, so it really depends on the major and what your first year looks like. And in some cases on the program web pages, it outlines what the first term looks like, and it's either 9, 10, or 12 credits. And that you're considered full-time with 9.
I'll add a little bit to this point. Normally, it would be a good idea to talk to both your program director as well as your advisor. A lot of this will also depend on how many courses you are required to take, even if you're required to be a full-time student. So each department or each PhD has their own number of credits that you're required to finish. So definitely a good idea to talk to your advisor and your department head and create a program or a plan, a program or a plan that can help you figure out how many courses or which courses you want to take when.
Yes, and something to add is that when it comes to course registrations, generally, like to get registered into a course, I think generally PhD students get some sort of a priority registration time as well. And you will see this up, I think, on your SIS, and whoever who is administrating your PhD program will also send you reminders saying course registrations opens on this day at around 8 a.m. as well. So in most of the cases, like you are able to get into a I mean, any course you like, as long as you're first, and since you're getting priority as well. And there was another question that was somewhat related to this. Can you cover more on how to succeed in this specific program in context of personality and expectations of professors? Anyone want to add?
Does it mean like specific program, any specific program, or?
We talked a little bit about this morning, and I think success is personal to some degree, but you guys mentioned earlier how important it was for you to talk to people, to be open, to be honest, to make connections, to one of the things that helps in succeeding in a PhD program is to do your research ahead of time. So, you know, making those connections with faculty who have interest in your research area, looking for those classes and talking to those faculty members that you need to connect to so that you can take a class outside of your program. You know, making connections with librarians and other faculty people. I think success is personal, but it means that you're asking for help when you need it. And a lot of it is making connections, in my opinion, and asking the right questions and connecting with the right people. And part of the success, in my opinion, is doing your research ahead of time, not coming up with just a question and saying, hey, help me, but you can say something along the lines of, you know, I've looked on your website. I understand that you're doing work in this area. My work is connected in this way. I noticed that, you know, one of the research centers and one of the things that you're working on was this, and this, and I'm looking to do this, and this. So it's making those connections with at least the fact and answering questions with some background that you've done a little bit of legwork ahead of time.
Yes, and something to add to Laura is that based on your research and expertise, what you need is something, as Chris mentioned as well, it can be from anywhere in RIT, and RIT is quite diverse. I think only thing missing is the law and, or not the law, I think the medical college. So in terms of any course you need, color science, in any way you can, there's more or less a course for that. So I guess if you have a need and like based on your research interest and based on your where you want to lead, I'm pretty sure you'd find a course and a professor who's going to teach as well, and that'll be interesting for you. And something unique for PhDs is that since at the end of the as we progress, we will be needing advisors and people to be in a committee. And when you meet professors and you see connections between their work and yours, those are all potential committee members for your thesis as well. And
yeah, and I would like to extend Cyril's point that in terms of the expectations of the advisor, we always try to meet it, but sometimes, or like some of the days, it is like we don't meet our expectations. But at least if we tell why, like what are the other things which we did and why we didn't succeed, even that shows that to the advisor that yes, you have given an effort, and then he can give you a specific direction. Like, okay, you tried this, now let's go ahead and let's explore this vertical or something like that. So being honest with your advisor, and of course, like meeting expectation is the main thing, but it's okay that if you don't meet an expect, don't try to pressurize yourself at the very beginning of the year that, oh yes, I have a task given and I have to complete it. Of course, do your best and be honest. Yeah.
I would just add to what Gauda says that as everybody has said, like open communication, and make sure that you know and that you are aligned with your advisor in regards to what are his or her expectations, and so that you know what to deliver. And I just want to like say a little bit of experience of myself is that at the beginning, I came from a background where if I had a deliverable and I wasn't getting like any like good results, I didn't report on those. Like I only report on the good things that were happening. So what happened to me at the beginning was that during the first few weeks, my advisor was like, oh, you don't have anything to report? And I'm like, no. But then I realized that she wanted even to hear like what I was doing that was not going right. So models that I was trying that were not giving me good results. Because as Gara says, with that information, then she could point me into other directions. So I had to like find that out at the beginning, that I had to report even my failures so that we could actually like move forward, and that we will be on the same page in regards to expectations.
I see that the question says it's for a CS program, so I don't know if that's computer science or color science. I just wanted to add a little bit about the color science program, if that's the case. So all that is mentioned is so true about how to be successful in the PhD program. About color science, although it is a very specific program, the areas that you can actually do research on are very wide. And my recommendation would be that the first year in color science, and I think in most PhD programs, the first year you're actually taking more courses and, looking at the advisors, what you want to do for your research. So be more open-minded and see what's available to you. And then, as mentioned before, there's a lot of collaborations with different departments, with different faculties in RIT. So just be open-minded and see what you would like. And if there's something that is more specific and you like to work on, there's usually someone that can help you. So in color science, first year, just be open-minded, see at different areas which ones is more interested to you, and then there's tons of resources that you can use to work on the area that you like. So.
Pat?
Well, as far as the engineering department goes, well, we have this whole huge division where you have transportation, you have biomedical, you have computer, and the one more I kind of, it escapes me at this moment, but you have these different departments, different divisions, and within that you have these plethora of different research areas that are going on, that are being working on. So the best idea is you go, you see something. There was somebody in the morning, somebody mentioned that one of the ideas is if you go around the campus, look at the boards, you see a lot of people displaying their research that they are doing. So more often than not, you can definitely figure out who it is and then just send them an email or knock on the door or something. Not in this, I mean, not for the next 6 months maybe, but still, you can definitely send them an email and ask them that I was interested in this part of your research or something along those lines. And you should be able to create an open dialogue with the professor quite easily once you start working.
And something to add on that is things are different right now. And if before everything happened, as in like we were in physical states and we could meet people, and some of you are joining, will be doing their PhDs remotely as well. And we know that it's going to be a hard task since PhD in its own is more isolated. And even though people try to say, go out and meet people, I know it's a tough task to get out of the lab. And we as DSA, as we are planning on having these bi-weekly sessions for everyone to meet up as well, and over Zoom, so that anyone who's remotely can even join in, have a random chat with someone, just talk about their days and how their weeks are going. And mental health is an important thing when it comes to the PhD, because your first year is kind of tough, because for some, like this computer science programs, we have your RPA, the qualifying exams as well. And it's for someone who's going to be starting at first, I know even during orientation, the professors might like scare you out. So don't be scared. It's something you need to do. And when you take it slowly, you can definitely get through it as well. And that's coming from myself and Gaurav, who got through it. So it's the PhD in itself, it's daunting, but well, you can get through it. You have made it so far. Gaurav, do you want to, oh, Yashar, do you have anything to add?
I just wanted to add one point that one thing that I found really useful in most of the engineering program, I think most of the PhD programs, I think have this, and that's the seminars. Usually each PhD program has a seminar, and in that seminar, usually at the start of the year, you get to meet some of the professors that have interesting projects going on, or during the whole semester, you may get to meet students from different professors' lab, and that's also one of the good ways to understand what each professor doing. And if you are interested to talk to them or get to know them better, you would know what's the area of focus that they're working on. So just wanted to add this.
Thank you, Ashar. So I guess,
Yeah.
Gaurav, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, and also with respect to qualifiers, you have to form a committee that is like in computing and information sciences, and you also have to keep the professors who are in the committee in loop and constant like weekly meetings, whatever their expectations is, and also practice your presentations. For me, before qualifiers, I also used writing commons because my technical writing was not that good, so I used to like take help of the writing commons like an hourly sessions or so, and working on individual like what I want to convey, who is the targeted audience, because as you know that the qualifiers, like Cyril would know that well, that the qualifiers are like general people sitting, of course, so we have to maintain the balance of like specialization as well as generalization as well. So that's the main thing which I wanted to touch on. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we'll move on to the next question. So tips on being a good TA. So I'll start off with this, and I've been a virtual TA so far. I was part virtual during the spring. So virtual TA is quite different in contrast to the physical, being physically. And it's more of organizing yourself and keeping everyone in loop. And sometimes it's more of having, if you have to do any classes virtually, have a plan how you're going to do it, have a proper setup if you're going to have slides, or in case you have to teach recitations and all. And for office hours, have used, there are plenty of online tools like uh, having your office hours up so anyone can schedule, and they would get a Zoom link per se. And for recitations and online classes, if you're going to pre-record yourself, there is something called Camtasia that can record yourself, your screen, and anything that you are going to scribble on. So anyone want to add anything?
I think you made a really good point about it being a good TA. In my case, I never did a TA as you, like virtually, but still, being a TA, I think one important thing is that you get to, it has two good aspects, because you get to review the material, and then at the same time try to convey that material to the person who's you're the TA for. And I think that's the important thing is that you can look at what would you want. You should look at this, that what would you want to hear from the instructor that you couldn't get, and then now as a TA maybe you can convey that to the person who's asking for that. So I guess that kind of thinking would help to be a good TA. That's what I think.
And also to add on, like if you think like online classes and in-person classes, there will be a difference of it is not actually, because in my courses we have a portal basically where all the lecture notes, the presentations are there itself. And the one thing about what I learned as a TA was there are many repeated questions which come from the students. So my courses have a discussion section where you can answer those questions related to that course. So if anybody goes to that course, they can see already that there is a question being asked and you have already answered as a TA. So that helps a lot. And because of the discussion section being specific, there is more outreach as compared to the targeted audience or like the students, we can say. So yeah, so make use of my courses as well. Yeah.
Gaurav, do you want to expand on my courses and SIS, just to give them a heads up on what to prepare for?
Yeah, so my courses is SIS is a portal where it is used for enrolling. It is enrolling your courses and everything. Also, Tiger Center is there, but SIS is mainly used for enrolling the courses. And my courses is a portal which is used by the faculty as well as the students from the front end point of view and the TA. So you have all in one over there. So whatever doubts or concerns you have about the course, like you can say like the syllabus or the assignments or forming groups. So also in one of my course, Introduction to Big Data, we had groups, and of course we had to communicate through like mail and everything. So the professor also had created a group in itself in my course. So we can interact over there, and even the professor can check and follow up. Also the TA had the, you can say, access that how the progress is going, and they also can keep a track of it. So yeah, in that case my courses and you can say SIS is helpful for that. Yeah.
All right, so moving on from that, this is a question from the attendees, is that do professors like if PhD students acquire internship experiences during their time at RIT, or they prefer students work exclusively on their research project? And on my, if I were to take a stab at it, I'd say it depends on your advisor and how the PhD program is. But in my cases, as in like in computing and information sciences, they do prefer that you get some experiences over the summer so that you have a mix and experiences in the both worlds. So like you're already in academia, and it's a good time for you to explore industry as well, so that after you complete your PhD, you know where you will end up and where you will like. Anyone want to add?
I think I can add that in engineering program, it was this way that you need to do your proposal first, and then usually after the proposal you can do an internship. But still, like it's up to your advisor. But usually, like after proposal, most people are allowed to do an internship.
Yeah, even I would agree on it, because when I had a word with my advisor, like, should I apply for it? Because there are career fairs organized by RIT. So I was like, should I go? Like, of course, we can have our network or like networking there, but actually, if I have like courses which are remaining and my semesters are due, so I would like rather focus on that first. This is my like plan of action, that first finish my courses, then once everything is done, qualifies are like in place, then okay, now the next step. But of course it depends on how good you can manage, and like time management is an important thing, but most important, keeping your advisor in loop is the main thing. Like if you go and you get a job and later like tell your advisor, hey, I got a job, without informing, of course they will not say no, but it's like you have to do your PhD, not them. So your research and everything has to be balanced. Yeah.
One more thing I'll add to that is a lot of this will also depend on a conversation, as they said, with your advisor. But if you're somebody who is interested in moving back into the industry after you finish your PhD, then it definitely is a good idea that you discuss with your advisor and figure out a way to do certain kind of experience outside of RIT while you're doing your PhD, just to like help you balance out, find new things, as Gaurav mentioned.
Just to add on that, in color science department, it's very, very much people are telling you to take internships, and everybody takes at least 2. I've seen people taking 3 internships during their PhDs. And usually everybody's just okay with it. It can be in any areas, your research or anything else that you would like to do an internship on. And they really support students to have internships to get that experience of working in the industry. And later on, it will also help with your job search a lot, because it builds your resume, and it's actually very much encouraged.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to take off?
Sure. So I think I can talk a little bit about my experience going to an internship during my PhD. So I did defend my proposal. So after that, I got the chance to go to a company called Dassault Systems in Boston, and I could do 6 months of co-op over there. And actually that was a kind of an internship there, and that was a very good experience, because after I was sure that I did my proposal, so everything is on track with my PhD, and I know that I'm going to be defending at a certain amount of time. And the head of our program, Dr. Edward Hansel, he mentioned that this internship needs to be somehow connected to what you're doing in your PhD. So that's an important thing for engineering internships, at least. And the good thing was that this internship was aligned with my PhD work. So that helped me understand better on how the industry can benefit work that I'm doing during my PhD. So I think it was a very good experience going to internship, learning about the industry, and how as a PhD you can contribute to the industry and do some new things, new and exciting things. So when I came back and wanted to defend, I had much more basically enthusiasm on what's going to happen next after finishing my PhD at RIT.
I can speak generally about experiential education. I think sometimes it's a matter of semantics. Is it an internship? Is it a cooperative education assignment? Is it experience that you're getting within the workplace? It's important to differentiate whether or not you're getting credit for it. And if you're maintaining full-time status, in order to do that and register for co-op credit, it has to be paid full-time career-related experience. I mean, there are other programs on campus where someone does an internship and they're not getting paid, and it's 10 hours a week, and maybe it's career-related. You'd hope it would be, but a co-op is defined as paid full-time career-related experience. And when you're on co-op, you maintain full-time status. And you don't pay for that credit hour, you're just maintaining full-time status, and you're getting paid to work and gain experience. And the Office of Cooperative Education and Career Services, in addition to your faculty and any other networking you do, can be helpful in finding that job. The database that RIT has and the connections that they have generally with employers is huge. You can use the career fairs, you can go on Handshake, which is the database, the job search system that is used by the Office of Cooperative Education Career Services. You can ask for reports to be run, by a geographic region in a zip code area, get information from the database about certain employers in a particular major, in a particular region, and use that to conduct a search on your own. But they're very, very helpful. There's a staff of at least 25 people, many and specific, I think they're called program coordinators in the Office of Co-op and Career Services, can help you with your resume writing, in addition to interviewing skills, networking skills, all that kind of stuff. So if that's something that you want to integrate into your PhD program, like everybody said, talk to your advisor. It's not required, but it's something that's optional to a graduate student.
Thank you, Laura. Something to add before you move on to the next thing is when you do an internship or something related to that for even though it seems like 3 months is a short time, make sure you keep in touch with your research as well, so that you are keeping track either part-time writing stuff or progressing in your research. Because after 3 months, when you come back to college, you may will be completely blank, and you may have to start again because you have forgotten your research per se. So with the interest of time, we'll move on to the next question, and it's an interesting one. Do your advisors allow summers or winter breaks off if you ask for it? And I think we can get some input from Laura as well, and how to do this sort of a thing logistically. And Omar, do you want to take over?
Yes, before Laura, if it's okay, I would like to just talk a little bit about my own experience. Um, for example, first of all, it will depend on your advisor and the type of program that you are tied to with the research. Sometimes you are tied to a research that is agency sponsor or government sponsor. So they have deadlines that is actually not up to your advisor necessarily. It might be up to the project that you're tied into. So that is one thing to consider. But once you talk to your advisor, you can try to find out what is the timeline that they have and what are their expectations. Some advisors, they do summer programs and they expect you to work with them, but you can always talk to them if you need the winter or the summer off for some personal activities. So for example, in my case, last summer, I went to a program with the UN in Germany. So I talked to my advisor and I asked her if she had a plan for the summer for us, and we basically agreed that I was able to basically take that summer off. So it is possible. You just have to like talk to your advisor and understand that sometimes it's not up to them, it's up to the project that you're tied to.
I don't think I have anything else to add other than to make sure that you check the revised RIT calendar for the fall term. Classes start August 19th, and we go straight through with no breaks right up until the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, which I think is November 22nd. So no breaks. And then after that, we start again in the spring, January 11th, I believe it is. So just look at the academic calendar, it's online, and pay attention to when exams are and that sort of thing.
I will go. Yeah, I will go with the next question asked by Gina. It's like, can you expand on how to tackle qualifiers in the CIS program? So, like first of all, of course, there will be like I'm talking about just like CIS, and Cyril will then generalize it. So in CIS, basically, you have to form a committee. Like in a committee, you will have 2 to 3 you can say professors, but related to your own like domain or research, and then you have to also make a research paper. Like I guess it's 6 pages page limit, 4 pages, I guess 4 pages limit, and then you have to give presentations before your final qualifiers to the committee, like couple of times. So what I did was after my fall semester, since the qualifiers is in May, in spring semesters, I started reporting to all of my committee members, and at once I tried to make it as like a common schedule for them so that everybody can meet and I can give them presentations. So even if they have conflicts, so I can or they can resolve between them, like if there are any contradicting changes in the or suggestions. And then next meeting I would make inform them that these were the questions or the doubts you had raised, and this is how I addressed. Of course, not all issues were addressed, but if I'm not addressing a specific issue, then I would have like provided some facts that why this issue cannot be resolved. So if I'm not agreeing with them, so I cannot just say like I disagree with you, but of course I should provide some facts and figures so that I could prove my point to them. So that's how I cannot say like tackle, you have to work hard. You cannot tackle qualifiers, but yeah, you have to work your way through. Yeah. So Cyril, you can take over.
So since we have people from color science and engineering as well, do you guys want to share your experiences on your qualifying exams? Qualifying.
Sure. So for engineering, normally how it works is after you finish your coursework, you have your qualifiers. But in our case, what happens is we are provided certain articles that have been published in the past 3 years or so, and you choose one of them, and then you have to critique it, explaining what's good about it, what are they talking about, what could have been better, what can you improve. It will not be in your research area, but it will still be in the domain that you're working. So you still are related to the field of research, but it won't be your direct research that you're doing. And then you have a committee that's selected for you. You do not choose it, but then you have a session where you do a presentation about the report that you wrote on the paper, and then you have a back and forth Q&A at the end of which they decide whether or not to allow you to go further.
Right. So in color science, it's different. It's usually a whole day of an exam. It's a written exam, and there's 2 sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And it's usually a total, it used to be like that. I don't know if there's been any changes, but usually a total of like 10 questions. And the questions are not as specific on any area. So they're very broad and in any areas of color science. And usually you just review whatever materials, whatever courses that you have passed within the first year. And they want to understand that you have a good understanding of the concepts, of all the basic concepts of color science. So the questions are actual practical questions in the areas of color science. And they're looking for you to see how you would address a real world problem per se. And yeah, if you have understood all the basic concepts, you'd be fine to answer those.
And one thing to add on the qualifiers is that the day when you're presenting your qualifiers, it's a big room. It's not like a normal classroom. So RIT, like Min Hong, in my time it was Lori Jo, so she had given us slots, and where students went to that room and practiced, like, okay, the setup, the presentation slides, how they are looking, because of course it's like large audience, like you can say like all the professors of RIT, you can say over there sitting at. And one more thing, they will ask you questions, and it is not necessary that you should know all the answers. They will ask you tricky questions, and if you try to bluff them, trust me, they know that you are bluffing them. So, and the worst thing before qualifiers is like the roasting by the committee. So that would be a tough time. But I was not understanding why my committee is roasting me so much. But then once I came out of the qualifiers, then I realized, oh, that was the, like they were preparing me for handling that much of pressure. So yeah, I was just counting my, you can say, days, like when the qualifier just gets over, of course, and I should pass the qualifiers. So that was my main concern. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. So they will try to ask you one question, then you answer, then they go deeper in that question, then you answer, they go deeper until at some point if you continue answering and you don't know things, they would know that. And that's very important, because later on you would go out to conferences and other places to present, and you will see the same kind of behavior from people who will be the audience of your presentations, research presentation. And then it's important to practice this during the qualifiers.
All right. So I guess with the interest of time, since we are closing up, I'd like to end with one final question. So this is more of to people, since Rochester is known for their snow, and most of us have been here for a while. So someone might ask, how is the snowfall at Rochester? Well, from my experience so far, and I'm passing off some advice from the morning as well, snowfall is pretty bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but RIT is pretty good at handling snow, and like the buses run on time. There might be some delays, but buses are on time. So even if you're using the RIT shuttles, you can be sure that you can get to campus without any trouble. And when you get to campus, even it's pretty safe, as in they will solve the road so that you don't slip. And from the bus, the moment you get down from the bus, we have a shuttle system, so that the tunnel systems, so that you can get from wherever you want without even stepping out. And passing off what Elisa has mentioned in the morning, well, get a good coat, get a good pair of boots, and get wool socks so that you don't get frostbites and all. So anyone you want to add on snowfall?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like she said, buy it in Rochester. Don't buy from
Oh yeah.
anywhere else. Please mention that, otherwise, again, they will be like, they will catch you later. Yeah, and Laura, do you want to add something to it?
Oh, just a little bit, because I want to say that
Yeah.
it can be very pretty.
Oh yeah.
You just, as long as you prepare well, it can be very pretty. I've been
Yeah.
here for 26 years, and you know, there's heavy snow days and there's light snow days. There's snow days that come as storms. There are snow days that come with blue skies. Sometimes there's fun in the sun, in the snow, with snowboarding and skiing and sled riding and tubing. So there are things to do that are fun in the snow. And it will go away. And when it goes away, this is a beautiful place to live.
Yeah,
And
I
when
also wanted
does
to
it go
agree
away?
with
You
you.
miss it.
Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to agree with you. It's very beautiful, especially if you're coming from places that does not have much snow, unless you're coming from Canada. It's a lot of snow, so it can be very beautiful. Can also be very cold. But one thing I wanted to mention is that enjoy it as much as you can, because you can't do much when there's snow, but you can. There's a lot of snow activities that you can enjoy. You can ski or ice skate. RIT has a good ice skating arena that you can enjoy during the winter. So I learned a lot of ice skating and skiing in Rochester, which was a good point for me.
And also, I wanted to add, for the shuttle service, RIT has its own app too. So even if you're staying like little bit near the campus, like Pak Point Province, and off campus, like there are off campus housing too. So there is the live tracking in the app itself. So, and of course, there is weekend shuttle too for the groceries and everything at Walmart. So, yeah.
Omar, you had anything to add?
Well, basically it was already touched on the activities, but I was just gonna highlight the fact that um, don't only know that there's things that you can do in the snow. One of the best advices I got coming to Rochester, and I come from the Caribbean, so I came from a place where we had no snow at all, was actually to find something that, make it a mission to do things in the snow so that you can like find something that you like. Because if you start just like getting into your room and not stepping out, then winters are gonna be even harder for you. So definitely make it a mission to do things in the snow.
All right. So I guess that's it for us. And since we are on time right now, and thank you all for joining in, the panelists, and Laura and Lindsay for organizing it, and Chris and Yashar. Thank you all for attending the seminar, the Q&A. And if you have any questions, our information is on the slides. And well, you can always reach out to us, email, or even campus groups, or we have our Facebook groups as well. We are here to help, and we can definitely help. Even if we can't get an answer for you, definitely point to get you connected with someone who is able to answer it as well. So stay safe, everyone. Thank you all for joining in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome, new Tigers.
Welcome.
you.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Azad.
Thank you, guys.